Hello and welcome to Recharge Wrestling. We're here to plug you into the world of professional wrestling. I'm Fisher and I'm joined by one of my co-hosts this week, Keeney.
Hey guys.
Yep, just a two-man podder again today, but we're going to do a special pod today. We're not going to do our normal weekly review because there wasn't too much after Elimination Chamber to talk about. So we're going to talk about WrestleMania and where the card is at the moment, our thoughts on the current feuds going on and matches we'd like to see added, what they're going to do with people that are sort of not on the card at the moment, and stuff like that. But first, we just want to say as well that we will be going to Money in the Bank and SmackDown in July in London.
Oh yeah, cannot wait for that. It was a stressful one getting tickets, wasn't it? I wasn't actually involved. It was you and Krusty, but I was at work unfortunately. But yeah,
the delay as well. The hour delay was annoying, but we got there in the end, and we'll be going. So if anyone listening to this is going to the show, let us know because it'd be cool to meet people.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's mad, isn't it? We never thought we'd get to see a pay-per-view, and this is our second one in like basically a year. So it's mental that we've got this opportunity.
And it's a big pay-per-view as well. It's Money in the Bank. It's guaranteed newsworthy events. Because the thing is with Clash, it was great, and there could have been newsworthy events if Drew had beaten Roman. But realistically, there wasn't after the show. Okay, we got Solo Sikoa debuting, we got Ray Dom turn on Ray. We did get some stuff, but it wasn't title changes or big Money in the Bank. You're guaranteed to get 2 Money in the Bank winners for a start. You can get a cash in later on in the show.
Yeah,
they do that quite a lot.
I want to see a cash in.
So there could be very newsworthy events from it, which would be great as well to see live in person. So yeah, we can't wait.
Yeah, buzzing.
Right, so the structure to this, we're going to talk about Mania matches then. So we're going to talk about ones that are pretty much confirmed or confirmed. Then we're going to have probables based on storylines, matches we'd like to see, and then we'll discuss at the end where that leaves the following. Because sort of, if you combine the matches that are currently confirmed and probables, plus a couple of matches that I'd like to see that are almost not definitely going to happen, but these people will be in matches. I think that leaves 14 matches on the card. So then that
that many?
Yeah, so that leaves quite a lot of people off the card that to discuss.
Okay.
So in terms of confirmed ones, so let's start with the obvious, the main event, Roman Reigns and Cody. What are your thoughts at the moment of this feud? Because obviously the Sami Zayn stuff.
Yeah, I think the Sami stuff clouded it. It was a speed bump. I don't think they were expecting the Sami to get as popular as he did. So there was some, even probably minor unrest, or maybe Sami should have had that spot, not Cody. But I think actually the crowd's reaction to Cody has been brilliant. Yeah, I think he's a star. Yeah,
because the promos with Heyman have been excellent. When we had one on board this week, we had obviously one a couple of weeks ago. We had one with Sami as well, which was really good where they both got cheered. I don't think it helped Cody that obviously Elimination Chamber, Raw and SmackDown were all in Canada this week. So Sami's going to seem even more over than he is. When it goes back to normal, he'll be over, but he won't be Canada over. it's a whole different level. So I don't think that's helped people. And I think it's kind of clouded people's judgment. Saying, oh, Sami should have won. Sami, we had Canada, but now what? Do you know what I mean? It's difficult. So
no, you're right.
I think this feud will now Sami's kind of out of the way, and you can tell the story between. I mean, they started telling the story between Sami and KO again. Which
Usos.
They
could go ahead with Cody and Roman now.
Really push on now, and I think they need to get Cody and Roman in the ring together quite soon.
Yeah, that's my only real issue with it so far is we haven't. I still don't see the story between Cody and Roman. There's a story between Cody and Paul Heyman we've got, but I mean Roman can tell Roman can tell the story of how the story's been telling for the last 2 and a bit years of he's the head of the table, and there's only one royal family. He can say the bloodline's a royal family, and there's obvious directions for it to go down. But right now, nothing is personal, and it doesn't always have to be personal. It could just be the two best guys fighting for the main title, and maybe that's what they're going to go for. But obviously, we've just come out of like the most personal storyline of, and we go back even further to Brock Lesnar. That was a bit personal last year for Mania for Roman, and then he's had the Sammy's really personal. Jey Uso before that was quite a personal thing. Like, so a lot of his storylines have kind of had that more kind of deep storyline meaning to it, and so it might actually be. I'm not against them just going, you know, I'm the top guy and I'm going to beat you. I'm not against that, but it's just interesting to see what they do because we haven't seen them interact at all. So we just want to see that.
That was cool, then. As an yeah, sorry, I did hear the bulk of what you said, and yeah, I think they'll ramp it up a little bit. Now Elimination Chamber's out of the way, you can make them, you know, the more personal. Heyman's made it quite personal, but like, yeah, we haven't seen the interaction between Roman and Cody, like you said. So I think we need to get to that. But in terms of when it gets to Mania, I think we'll be really looking forward to it, and I think the match will be really good. The story behind the match, Cody's very good in story-driven matches. We saw it in AEW with like Dustin and other matches that he was in, and the ones with Seth, to be honest, especially the Hell in a Cell one, MJF match. And Roman is also very good at those matches. So I think it will be very good, and it'll all come together, and it'll be very good when it.
I think that's the thing. I think we just have to trust it's going to be great because everything Roman Reigns has touched has been gold, absolute gold dust. Like they don't get anything Roman does wrong, really. So we've just got to trust it's going to be great. And I'm sure it will. Well, like you say, even if the match was tomorrow, I'd still be like on the edge of my seat when the match starts because it is the two top guys in the company right now going at it, and that is enough. You know, also you've got there was like the Rock was hanging over Mania for a bit, and you know there may be some people thinking, oh, that's probably a bit of a step down from the Rock. That's kind of so to hang over this slightly as well. And I think we're past the Rock now.
Do you still think there could be any Rock involvement on the show, but he's just not involved in the match? Do you think that's a possibility? Because I've heard people suggest that maybe he's still at Mania, but not. Obviously, he didn't want to wrestle.
Yeah, I mean,
but I don't think it's likely at this point.
I think they would announce him ahead of time. Personally, I think they tend to, like, you know, Stone Cold they announced last year, even if it was the Rock's making an appearance at WrestleMania, just to announce it. To be honest, I don't see it at this point.
I don't think so either, but I've just seen it sort of speculated it could still be there in some capacity. Maybe he cost Roman the title, but I don't think so. I think you want it clean. If Roman loses, it should be clean.
Yeah, definitely. I want.
There's no point in otherwise.
Yeah, I want Roman to lose the title in a proper way. But also we've got like the bloodline around him is falling a bit. Like, was it? I can't remember whether it's SmackDown this week where he was kind of pushing Jimmy in the face a bit, and starting to see maybe you could see both Usos turning on Roman, and like I think maybe that is the crescendo of this whole storyline. Is eventually Roman is left on his own. He isolates himself from everyone, and you know, could you see a scenario where Paul Heyman's with Cody Rhodes?
It's not unthinkable, is it?
And Roman drives Heyman into Cody's corner, and Solo's, oh, I'm doing my own thing, screw this, and Roman could be left completely alone after 2 years of having the biggest, most dominant faction, maybe in WWE history. He could just lose everything.
I think that could be the story going into Mania, is that Bloodline is completely dissolved, because Sami and KO talked about taking the Bloodline down together, and I think they mean all of the Bloodline just crumbling. So that could be the story, to be honest.
I actually
Cody, you know, wanting the title, that's the obvious story as well. But
yeah, I was gonna say I don't really want to see too much Bloodline beatdowns on Cody in the build up to this. I just want it to be Cody and Roman. For me, I don't want to see Solo attacking. I mean, maybe we have a Solo Cody match, you know, fine. But although saying that, Solo's not actually lost yet, so I don't know if you want to have him lose to Cody in the build up. But
No, but they might do some sort of tag. It wouldn't surprise me if we got some sort of like 6-man tag with like Cody, Sammy, and Owens or something like that against like those in Solo or something like that. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, but I mean, overall, a worthy main event. That
absolutely. Should we move on to another match?
Yeah.
So another match high up on the card, and one I think could actually steal the show match quality wise, is Seth Rollins and Logan Paul. Now, a lot of people don't like Logan Paul. I get that, but I have to say, whenever he's been in the ring, he's more than delivered. He's been really, really good. And if you put him in there with someone as brilliant as Seth Rollins is in ring, I think this match is going to be great, and I think it's a good feud. So, I guess.
Oh, we've lost Fisher's audio for a second there. There you go.
Yeah, sorry, my phone keeps ringing. It's annoying. But yeah, I get that some people wanted a bigger match for Seth. But I think this is a big match in terms of reach outside of wrestling and stuff like that. And like I say, I personally think it's still the show. We haven't actually seen much build up between the two. Obviously, we had Logan cost Seth at the Elimination Chamber.
Yeah, and that was great. He hit the curb stomp on Seth and cost Seth the title. Now Seth has a legit reason to go after him. I think it's I think the build from what we've seen, I think it's actually been quite good. It's one of those ones where I would never have called it before the Rumble, but then when he eliminated him at the Rumble, straight away your head's thinking, actually, this does make sense. I actually think Seth isn't. I actually think Seth, because I thought you could have had Seth in the US title picture, but he's kind of been in that picture for most of the year. Yeah, and I actually think he deserves a bit of a step up for that. I feel this is kind of, obviously he's not going to go for Roman now, and there's only one title, so this is the problem you have. So you need a standout match for him to go for, and unless you threw him against like a Gunther, maybe you could have done, but then they're on different brands of it. You could have got there, I'm sure, but I actually think Logan Paul is probably the right opponent for him. And I think Logan Paul is brilliant. Like, as annoying as it is to say, he is really good at wrestling.
He is, and he's a natural at it. And like I said, I think the match will be really, really good. I have no idea who's going to win, but like we'll talk about that nearer the time. I think when it's built better, but obviously we'll have predictions in our league and stuff. But it's an interesting one.
It is, yeah, but yeah, another great Mania match, and it fits WrestleMania. I think it feels like a Mania match. It's not just another pay-per-view match. It feels big time. Yeah,
absolutely. Let's go over to the women's side of the card. So we've got two confirmed, obviously, title matches. One from the Royal Rumble winning, and then one from Elimination Chamber winning. So we'll start with Royal Rumble first. Obviously, Rhea Ripley winning the Royal Rumble, then facing Charlotte, which was a little bit of a surprise. We thought maybe they were building to Rhea and Bianca. Again, a bit like the Cody Roman, because they're on split brands. We haven't really seen them interact. Although I know we're getting Rhea on SmackDown tomorrow, aren't we?
Yeah, I think we may start seeing Rhea and Dom on SmackDown because
well, Dom said he was going to go there as well because Ray has a match. So I think this is a way of moving the Judgment Day slowly over to SmackDown. Maybe not all at once, because I think we'll talk about Balor and Edge later on.
Yeah, maybe they'll split it in half and keep Balor and Priest on Raw, Ray and Dom and Rhea.
I can see Rhea and I don't know how they're going to do it, but obviously with Dom and Ray feuding as well, kind of. It sounds like that's the way they're going. But yeah, the match, I think, the match they had, was it 3 years ago at Mania? It was one of the best matches on the show that year. It was a really good match for the NXT women's title.
The Charlotte won.
Which Charlotte won. So yeah, the story is obviously Rhea getting redemption and taking the part here, which should be the outcome.
Yeah.
And match-wise, I think it's bigger now because Rhea feels such a bigger character than she did then. Rhea was NXT then.
Rhea for me right now feels like the top woman in the women's division. That's how I feel about her. I think she has to win. I think I would have had to go after Bianca if I was booking it, just because they have the unfinished business, and I just think that feels like a slightly fresher match than Rhea Charlotte. But I think I do think Dom and Ray plays into this a bit. I think the reason she's on SmackDown gives Dom a legit reason to be on SmackDown, and it kind of works for two storylines just a little bit. I mean, obviously there's no Ray Mysterio and Charlotte. Maybe you have a mixed tag at some point, a really random one, but who knows? But I think I think this will be good. I mean, I'm still not fussed on. We haven't seen much of Charlotte actually since she won the title. Really, she's done a little bit with Sonya Deville, but not much else. And again, no real interaction between the two. Again, that all starts now. The only kind of slight bump in the road in this kind of build for this was, I know she didn't take the pin, but she lost the Elimination Chamber, which putting her in a mixed tag match. Obviously, I always thought Edge and Beth were going to win, but I don't know if that just is an unnecessary loss in her build up to Mania. I feel like she should have gone into Mania completely dominant and maybe had her against Beth one-on-one at Chamber and she beats Beth, and that could sort of further the Edge Balor storyline.
You could have done that maybe, but I get why they had Edge in the match because obviously it was in Canada and he's Canadian. It made sense for them to have the hometown hero. That's why I think that's the only reason why they did the match, to be honest. In the same way that I think that's the only reason Natalia was in the Elimination Chamber. They do things to pop the crowd, or get heat from the crowd in some cases. Obviously, like the Sami Zayn main event. But yeah, I mean, I agree with everything you said there. I think they've got a few weeks to put it up, and I think you're right about them sort of combining it with the Dom and Ray feud. I've got that on my. It's not a confirmed match, but I think it's an obvious match that's going to happen.
Oh, it's happening. Yeah,
you can discuss that now if you want. I mean, this has been building for a very long time, since before Clash, because Clash they were trying to recruit him in the build-up. They were sort of telling Dom to join them and stuff. And then obviously we were there at Clash when Dom turned on Ray. And then obviously it's been slowly built since that. I think he's really grown into his character since then and become much better.
Dom's been brilliant, yeah.
Yeah. And then so now him versus Ray actually feels like a legitimately big match. And Ray's going to snap soon, surely. It might be this week, it might be in the next couple of weeks. Ray is going to snap and challenge Dom for Mania, something like that.
I mean, I remember we asked the question, probably the pod after Clash, that we thought Ray and Dom probably should have been at Mania, but back then it was quite a long way to Mania.
Yeah, I said it was too far away.
Yeah, I think we were like, well, how do they long this out? And obviously they moved Ray to SmackDown is how they did it, but we still see Dom. Thanksgiving, at Christmas, Valentine's Day, he's attacking his dad, and I like that Ray hasn't yet reacted, and I actually don't think Ray should lay his hands on Dom until Mania. I think Dom should keep winding him up. Ray says, "Okay, I will fight you at Mania," but finally at Mania he just goes for him, and I reckon it could be a brilliant match because I think it should be brutal. I think they should just go for it. And I actually think they should put Dom over as well. I think Ray would probably want to put his son over in this match.
Yeah.
And it would be a huge win.
Do you think Ray will put his career on the line or anything big like that to really add stakes to it?
Potentially, maybe like a mask or something. Maybe if Dom wins, he can wear the mask. That seems to be something they've kind of teased.
Yeah, I think there's different things you can do with this. Because Dom's sort of calling his dad past it, you could almost say, well, I'll put my career on the line or anything like that to really up the stakes. But I think by the time Mania comes around, that'll be a match we're really looking forward to because it's been built for so long. It hasn't been. There's a few matches that I will get to in a bit that I feel like are getting thrown together last minute, but this isn't one of those. This is one of those that's been building for a very long time.
And I think the build's been brilliant as well. I don't think they've done anything. I think they've done anything.
Yeah, I think the moving's Ray away.
Probably better than I think we could have planned it. I think if you told us after Clash, how would you get to? I think we probably did ask that question then. I think what they've done is better than what we would have come up with.
No, I think we suggested maybe you could write Ray off for a few months.
Yeah, that's what I thought you get Ray off TV.
I was saying, well, maybe Ray doesn't, maybe Ray doesn't want to be away. Maybe they need Ray there. So But moving them over to SmackDown actually worked perfectly.
Yeah. I guess the only thing is you still have this like Karrion Kross mini feud because Karrion Kross isn't leaving Ray alone either. So I don't know how that plays into all this. Maybe.
I think that's going to be over by then, isn't it?
Yeah. Is that Ray's match on Friday against Kross? I would presume.
Yes, I think so.
Yeah, maybe that's where it ends then. Ray beats Kross and then, or Kross wins because Dom costs him or something. Yeah.
And then obviously on the other women's side of things, we have Asuka and the Bianca Belair. Obviously, Asuka winning the Elimination Chamber match, which pretty much everyone predicted to happen. This is a match that I'm really looking forward to. I'm not sure what the build's going to be like, but the match itself, I think, will be incredible.
Oh, the match will be brilliant. Yeah, to me, I don't quite get this one yet. I'm not quite sure. I mean, Asuka is probably the best option other than like Becky, but then Becky Bianca again feels a bit similar. I mean, again, I'm looking at the challengers and the champions, and I personally would have preferred Asuka v Charlotte, and then
I've seen a lot of people say they would have done it the other way around.
Like when you see their two challengers, their two champions, and they could have easily have done the reverse of what they've done and have Rhea challenge back Bianca, then that elimination chamber match be for the SmackDown title. They could have easily have done it that way.
They could have. But yeah, I mean, I don't mind because Asuka and Bianca is a fresh match that hasn't been done before.
Yeah,
actually, Asuka in this gimmick, it feels right. I think
Asuka feels fresh, and she needs to be proper heel. And they have got that. They've been. Asuka was backing Bianca up with Alexa for a good few months against Damage Control. So there is a friendship there, and Asuka's different. We need her to be. I want to see Asuka be really proper heel, and I'm sure she will. We just haven't. Yeah, again, it's one of those with a lot of these. We haven't quite seen the build start yet, really. So I think the next couple of weeks will tell us a bit more.
Absolutely. Yeah, that one is another one. Like I said, I think that one, when it comes around, I think all of these top matches that have been confirmed so far are really good WrestleMania matches. No complaints of these whatsoever. And there's another one that I've got on the sort of like, it's not confirmed, but it's all but confirmed. I think is Balor and Edge.
Yep, that is basically done now.
Edge obviously lost to Theory, Balor costing him at the on Raw for the United States Championship. The rumor is Demon Balor and Brood Edge inside Hell in a Cell.
Okay, yeah.
To end the feud, because it was rumored that we were going to get a Hell in a Cell match in the Royal Rumble, and they didn't do it for whatever reason. And they put Edge, obviously. I think Edge had been away for a while, and then they put him in the Rumble instead. But yeah, the rumored match is that they're going to end the feud because this has been going on for a year. This is a long build.
This one needs a stipulation, I think. You can't just have a one-on-one match with these two.
We had the I Quit. We've already had an I Quit match. We've already had loads of matches with these guys involved. So this needs to end once and for all. And yeah, I've heard potential of Demon inside Hell in a Cell, which I think is the perfect way to end this feud.
Yeah. I mean, would you throw anything on the match to say, like, if Edge wins, then Judgment Day disband, and if Balor wins, then Edge retires or something? You could throw something on it like that.
I think the Dom Ray match is more that kind of story than this.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, no. I think
the stipulation of having it inside Hell in a Cell and it being a demon. We haven't really seen a demon in a while, obviously, since Reigns buried it. I think if they do the demon has to win. That is the rules here.
Yeah.
That I'm not making the rules, but that has to be the rules. The demon can't lose again. And Edge doesn't need wins at this point anyway, really, against younger talent. But that would be, if it's just a singles one-on-one match, I'm not really looking forward to this on Mania, to be honest, because we've already seen it.
Yeah.
But if they really up the ante and make it Hell in a Cell, Demon, then yeah, I'm all in for it. Because the feud, in my opinion, has gone on too long. But if you're going to end it that way, end it in style.
Yeah, definitely. Actually, I didn't even consider Demon Balor, so yeah, that makes complete sense. And that'd make me look forward to it. Yeah, but a long rivalry. And, like I say, on Raw when we had Edge and Theory for the US title, I didn't expect Edge to win.
No.
But I thought
coming out, and I was hoping it was going to be a opponent, to be honest. But then when it was Balor, I was a little bit disappointed.
Yeah, I was trying to work out. I was like, well, who's Edge going to be at Mania then? This is what this has been up to, Edge's Mania opponent. But I couldn't work out in my head who it was going to be, and then it was just Balor. So I was like, oh, okay, I guess. But yeah, it's fine.
Right, let's move on to probable matches. So one that's I think is quite obvious to start with. Yeah. Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn versus the Usos. Obviously, this isn't confirmed yet because we're still. And what I like what they're doing with the slow burn with Sami and KO. If KO had just come out on Monday and be like, "Yeah, we're best friends again," for me that would have been lame. It wouldn't suit Kevin Owens' character one bit. But I love the fact that he said no. You know, I didn't do it for you. I did it because I don't like the bloodline, but I still haven't forgiven you. So they're slow burning this. And I think you can still drag this out a couple more weeks. And KO eventually is like, you know what? Let's bury the hatchet. Let's do it. And then they go after the Usos. And that, in my opinion, should main event night one of WrestleMania. Because
I'm not against that.
Sami in the title match, having main event night one. KO main evented last year. He's over. The Usos have had a dominant run as well, like Roman had. What better way? And tag matches never main event Mania. So I think it'd be a cool change up.
Yeah, it's the biggest tag match you could possibly have. It's the biggest tag match in WWE, like full stop. You can't do bigger. Usually their tag team title matches are throwaway matches, like a multi-man.
Yeah, they're not normally
people on the card.
There might be a 1 month build. Most. This has been building for a long, long time. It's and I've storyline, arguably the hottest storyline.
Yeah, it probably is. And like the whole Sami bloodline thing was the main storyline there was Sami and Jey Uso. I know it turned to Sami and Roman towards the end, but
this is my argument for why this is fine, because a lot of people are saying it's not good but my argument for it is that Sami and Jey have been the main part of this story for the longest time. And Jimmy's been involved, KO's been involved. So to me, it all comes together perfect.
It does. And you think the alternative here, the alternative is Sami wins at Chamber, wins the title, then your main event match is Sami Zayn v Cody Rhodes, which doesn't feel as big as Roman and Cody.
Well, by the way.
Yeah, and then what do you do? What do you do with Roman? What do you do with the Usos? Like exactly. This is the best of everyone's best position, and I think Sami and KO having a tag team title run would be brilliant.
Also, Roman losing a 900-day reign at the pay-per-view before WrestleMania would be ridiculous.
Yeah,
so
it worked on paper,
I don't understand. I get that it's in Toronto. Sami was hot, but
I think people just wanted Sami to win.
Not Toronto.
Yeah, but without thinking about the consequences of him winning.
People have actually thought about what this would mean for the bigger picture, because we see this all the time.
Well, we were in the same position with Drew, by the way, at Clash. We were all like, oh, Drew should win, Drew should win. But actually, in hindsight, Drew as champion would probably not have
going into Mania. It would not be as hot.
No. So of course Roman had to beat Drew, but at the time we were caught up in it. But
come turn around, this is going to be brilliant. I'm not sure when Jay's going to turn on Sami, but we'll get there.
And this
last week was interesting when he looked like he was going to hit Roman. Jay did at one point. So when's he going to turn on Sami? It's all going to come together. I'm glad the storyline is still going on beyond Elimination Chamber. We can drag this out a few more weeks, all the way till the go home show of WrestleMania if you want.
Yeah, exactly. It's so interesting. And this is a storyline that I just, every time I see Sami or Jay on my TV, I'm hooked. I'm so intrigued about what's KO going to do? We fully expect KO to forgive Sami. Obviously, he has to get to this match, but it's not good. It's going to happen in like a couple of weeks' time. It's not going to happen on Monday. So it's just interesting, and there's so much more story, and it's all going to be great because it's been great. I've said Roman Reigns hasn't missed.
Incredible, by the way, I think as well.
Yeah,
in ring wise,
it will. But like Jey Uso hasn't missed for about 2 years now. Whether that be storyline or match, Jey Uso has had the best 2 years of his career by miles.
100%. Yeah,
he is one of the top guys in WWE right now, and obviously, and Jimmy's great as well. But Jimmy is kind of a side character in this storyline. But
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to one that I think at the other end of the scale is a bizarre match if it happens. If it happens, teased, and it was teased this Monday on Raw. So Omos and MVP calling out Brock Lesnar. What did you make of that? Because that's obviously something we haven't spoken about yet. It happened this week.
I actually think I called this as in the build-up. I thought the Mania match was Brock and Bobby, and I thought in the build-up they could do Omos and Brock and stuff. Brock, and that'd be quite an impressive person for Brock. Just Brock lifted up Omos for an F5 would be quite impressive.
Well, that's all. That's the thing. That's all this match has, though.
Yeah, but the match itself, I couldn't care less. Like Omos should not be in this big spot against Brock Lesnar.
But do you think this match is actually going to happen, or is this just Omos is going to lay the challenge and then Lesnar's going to say no, or something else is going to happen? Because I've seen people speculating whether it will or not.
I hope it doesn't. Yeah, this would be a rubbish Mania.
For me, it's a waste of Lesnar. Lesnar has big matches at Mania. I know he's not in the biggest storylines right now, and if this match does go ahead, in my opinion, it should be 1 minute match.
Yeah, Brock should destroy him. Yeah,
Brock should just lift him up, F5 him like 3 times, and then pin him.
Yeah.
And that would thing is that would do nothing for Omos, and it would do nothing for Brock really, because
but it would bury Omos, wouldn't it? Omos would be like, how does he recover from being destroyed? That's all he's got is he's big. If he gets destroyed, he's nothing. So,
and he's already been beaten by the likes of Strowman and Lashley, right? So
so I don't really know what. I mean, I don't think they've got much of a plan for Omos other than he's big, but I don't think he's ever going to.
I think they like bringing him out for special. I like the fact he's kind of a special attraction. They don't have him wrestle on Raw, really. They have him in the Royal Rumble. They'll have him at WrestleMania. They'll have him at like the Saudi shows or whatever. I like the fact that he's a special attraction, but if he just loses every time, then that becomes less special, and he shouldn't beat Brock Lesnar. Like that, and for just a waste. Brock should be in something a lot more interesting.
Yeah, I would like them to somehow get back to Brock and Bobby again. If that is what they do, then they need a big stipulation. Last man standing probably is what I'd go for. I
don't know why they did the match at Elimination Chamber. I don't know why they did it.
No, but for like a low blow DQ finish is a bit. I didn't like that finish.
It's a way to win the feud, but you're going to end it on that as well.
Yeah. I hope they get to Brock. Sorry,
the question is though, like if we do get Brock and Omos, where does that Bobby Lashley? And on my other probable matches, this is very speculative. But Bray Wyatt, obviously last Friday on SmackDown, said he was watching that match and he was going to call out the winner. Bobby Lashley technically won. Do we get Bray Wyatt versus Bobby Lashley?
I mean, we could. Yeah. It feels a completely random match. It's just two of their top guys who aren't doing anything against each other. There's no real rhyme or reason behind this one if it happens. I mean, again, it would probably be quite an interesting match to watch because Lashley's been booked strong. Good. Yeah, I think it could. As long as it's not I was going to say, as long as it's not too like, funny, like Bray Wyatt's matches with magical stuff happening. Because Lashley is like so opposite of that. It just wouldn't work for Lashley match, I don't think. So I think it needs to just be a proper match.
I think what would be more interesting is if you had almost like a faction warfare between the two. So you can have, obviously you've got Uncle Howdy with Bray anyway, but you could reunite, they've been teasing the reunite in the Hurt Business. So you can do like the Hurt Business versus Wyatt sort of scenario.
Yeah.
That could be quite cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a bit, again, these last two matches, they feel very thrown together.
Yeah,
it feels like they don't know what to do with. And then like you throw in the fact that like on Raw they kind of involved Elias in with Lashley as well because he asked for a WrestleMania opponent, got beaten up. Like, where is this leading? I honestly have no idea.
Yeah,
we're getting a Firefly fantasy, right? So we'll get more then. I think we'll get more then information. If he calls out Bobby Lashley tonight or does a Firefly Funhouse about Bobby Lashley, then I think that's the match. And then I do think if that happens, then Brock v Omos is definitely happening as well. So these two matches are kind of related. I have no idea if they're happening or not. But they're on my list.
They don't make
let's
sense.
talk about one I think is definitely.
Yeah, go on.
Yeah, they don't make sense.
No.
One that I think is definitely going to happen but hasn't been confirmed yet is Austin Theory versus John Cena.
That's happening.
Theory,
that's happening. Yeah.
Yeah, Theory mentioned him by name. Cena is coming to Raw in a couple of weeks. I think it's the 7th of March.
Yeah.
So not this Monday, but the next one, I think it is. I think we all know what's happening there. He's going to challenge Theory for the United States Championship at WrestleMania. That is a match and a feud I can get behind.
Yeah, exactly. 100%. What I think I don't really know how. I think they should pre-book the match, but I think there is a opportunity for Theory to have an open challenge at Mania and then John Cena answer it.
Yeah,
that is.
I've heard people say that because that's what Cena used to do.
Yeah,
but it doesn't really fit Theory's sort of cowardly character to do an open challenge. So at the same time, I don't know. I think obviously with Cena appearing on, I think he's gonna, unless he says I'm gonna do an open challenge for WrestleMania on here. Someone come out and you'll be my opponent, but I want time to prepare. But it's open to
Theory answers it. Yeah,
and then Cena comes out. Yeah, that I could see them maybe doing.
Yeah. But whatever happens, I think it'll be great.
On the mic, this will be fun. In the ring, I'm sure it'll be good. And I think Cena puts Theory. I mean, it's an early prediction, but I think Cena puts Theory over.
I think he has to, yeah. And also, like, what's Cena going to do with a US title run at this point of his career? It just wouldn't make sense for him to win it. But
and as when Edge was going for it the other day, it was like, well, what's Edge going to do with the US? I mean, he could just drop it at Mania, to be fair. But still, what would be the point?
Yeah, I know. But yeah, this match will be great. I've looking forward to this for a while, actually. Because Theory has mentioned Cena a few times in the last year or so. So
yeah, he said stuff like talked about ruthless aggression as well, which is obviously a John Cena thing. So yeah, it's been building for a little bit, and I think that'll be a really good match. I think those ones we mentioned at the start, plus this one, I think are really good, and plus obviously KO and Sammy and the Usos. So I think there's 6 or 7 matches that we're definitely getting that look good. Now the rest of the card fills out, and I'm not sure where we're going. I've got one more thing on the probables, but there's a few people involved, and I don't know which direction it's going. So next week on Raw, we've got Becky Lynch and Lita versus Damage Control for the Raw Tag Team titles. It was basically confirmed that Trish Stratus was backstage at that Raw, but plans changed last minute, and they didn't bring her out for whatever reason. Are we getting Becky, Lita, and Trish versus Bayley, Dakota, and Io? Potentially. I think that's a 6-woman tag you can do. Or do Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler get involved in this somehow? I could see that as well, because I think they will be doing something at Mania. They teased going for the tag titles. Where do you think the women's tag title division sort of thing is going? Or who does Becky Lynch and Bayley face? Because unless it's each other, I don't see it.
Yeah, it's a really strange one, because Becky Lynch is definitely having a match at Mania. That's one thing I know for a fact. Becky Lynch is having a match at Mania. She isn't being a manager for Trish and Lita, whatever. No. I actually thought when this was happening on Monday, I thought they were confirming for Mania Becky and Lita.
I was confused.
So it's on Monday, so I was like, okay, that's confused me a bit. I think for the tag team titles, it makes sense to have a multi-team, just because we're now actually getting a few tag teams form, and I think it kind of makes sense to have Ronda, Shayna, because that's a big team. Becky and Lita's a big team. Damage Control, I don't know. Maybe create another one. I don't know. I don't know. It's really unclear. I mean, like I say, the only logical singles match, unless you could get to Trish v Bayley.
I was going to say, actually, maybe you do.
You could get to that and have Lita and Becky tag.
Yeah, maybe Damage Control retain, but they kind of beat up. Damage Control kind of beat up Becky and Lita afterwards. Trish makes a save. Trish challenges Bayley, but then Ronda and Shayna also somehow get involved. You can do Ronda, Shayna, Becky, Lita, and Damage Control is a triple threat tag team, and then you can do Trish and Bayley 1-on-1, which would be cool.
Yeah, that's probably the cleanest way out
And
like,
those are cool
solution.
matches. Like, I think that 6-woman tag
Yeah.
would be really fun.
It would be
And
amazing.
actually, going back to sort of, so we asked on our Twitter what matches people would like to see them in third. And our pal Jack did mention he'd like to see Ronda and Becky in some form. I did reply saying I feel like the time has passed on Ronda versus Becky because I feel like it's hotter matches now. I think Ronda's cooled off too much, but this would be a way to get them in the ring together again without it being sort of a main event level match. So you can have them in a tag team.
It's a way to build a match to say Becky Lynch is in it, Lita's in it, Ronda Rousey's in it, and it's a title match. Like that sells the match. I think that's probably the best case scenario because I think Ronda Rousey has to do something. She's too big a name to not do something on Mania. Yeah. And there's no one I want to see her go against singles. Unless she fights Shayna. Maybe that's probably the only match I wouldn't mind seeing her in. But I think the tag team is the best route for Ronda Rousey right now. I actually think Ronda and Shayna should be tag champs and should dominate people.
Well, I think that might, if that match happens, early prediction is that they would win the titles. Because I don't think Lita would win the titles because I don't think Lita's going to be a full-time person.
Yeah.
And Damage Control's reign should end, really, because it's been a long time.
It has, it's not been that. So
that's what I would like to see. I think that was a really good shout, that triple threat tag match, and then you could still do Bayley versus Trish, or they could be ringside somehow.
Yeah, I mean, the only other thing is you could do Becky and Bayley in the singles and have Trish and Lita as the tag team.
Yeah, you could do that. I mean, we've seen Becky and Bayley enough times, but again,
realistically, Trish and Lita makes more sense as a tag team than Becky. That's the only problem with all of this.
Maybe they don't want Trish. Trish and Lita are both a bit like ring rusty because they haven't had matches. So maybe they want Becky in there because Becky Lynch.
Yeah, and Lita's the one to help Becky. So that there is storyline reason why you'd have Becky and Lita. It just feels a random team.
It does a bit, but they did have their match. They did kind of explain it. You know, they had their match in Saudi Arabia last year. So I think there's a bit of history enough to go on. It for my probables. I'll get to my matches I'd like to see, and this one of them I can see happening. One of them is just wild speculation. So the Intercontinental title has to be defended in the show, right? Gunther has to have a match. Mm-hmm. My match is a triple threat match with Drew McIntyre and Sheamus. I just think that's the way to go. I think that match with three men just going mad at each other, big men chopping, proper wrestling. It could steal the show.
Yeah.
I don't know who would win, but you've got the idea of Sheamus going and finally winning the only title he's not won. You've got Drew maybe potentially overcoming Gunther, and you've got the dominant champ. So I think and Drew and Sheamus, even though they're friends, don't mind going for a scrap against each other. So I think it wouldn't have that handicap match feel to it. It would feel like a genuine triple threat.
Yeah, I agree, actually.
That's the match that I have on my... Because otherwise I don't know what you do with Drew McIntyre if he doesn't face Gunther. And then Sheamus, for me, should be involved as well.
Yeah, no, that's probably the best match for it. I mean, the only alternative I had was just Drew v. Gunther, not with Sheamus, just a one-on-one match, which would still be amazing.
Yeah. A one-on-one match would be fine, but I want to see Sheamus.
Yeah, and Sheamus has mentioned a few times about him not winning that title before, so that seems to be a thing now. It's not just a one-off. Like, he's mentioned it since he lost to Gunther. So I think that's the way to go, and I think we kind of, at Rumble, they've been interlinked for a while, and I think triple threat would seem the best case for all three of these people. All three of them deserve a good Mania spot because they've all had great. Well, maybe.
Well, Sheamus had like a great year. Drew is obviously a big name, and Gunther, obviously, you've got to have that title defended. What's the point?
Yeah, I mean, another thing I'd like to see, obviously, Gunther v Brock, but we're not going to get that. But...
Yeah, well, a lot of people were saying that could be the match, but and then you have Brock put Gunther over, which would be incredible. But,
yeah, or even Gunther v Lashley would be great. Like, there's a lot of. I mean, thing is, Gunther's still quite fresh. There's so many matchups for him. Like, we saw a glimpse of Gunther v Cody, which that would be great after the Rumble. So Gunther has a career of Mania matches ahead of him, but I think for this one, triple threat, and maybe he retains. Like, maybe he just keeps the title.
Yeah, I can see him doing that, to be honest.
Especially if Roman's losing, have Gunther as a dominant champion all of a sudden. Have him as the long reigning champion on SmackDown. Yeah,
I mean, he's already one of the longest reigning Continental title holders in recent times, but you could have him go even further.
And that's how it should be. That's what he was when he was the NXT UK champion, like just held it forever. And that suits him. So I think he should only. And the thing is, Drew would be a great IC champ, as would Sheamus. So any winner there would make sense. So that's what makes the match better, I think, is when you can make a case for everyone winning in a triple threat.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
The other match I've got here, nothing suggested, but a few people line, and I like the idea of is LA Knight versus Pat McAfee. I think that could be a well fun match to do. The promos building up to it, LA Knight kind of working as a heel, being a bit cocky, and then
that would be good.
It's a bit similar to what they did last year in terms of, wasn't it Theory and McAfee?
Yeah, I was actually thinking of McAfee Corbin as well.
But yeah, I think LA Knight should be on the show. I think he has earned his position, and Pat McAfee, I think you're going to get some celebrity or legend outside. He is a WWE employee, but you know what I mean, not a regular roster member. I think you're going to get a couple more of those matches. McAfee is very good, so I wouldn't mind seeing him. So yeah, McAfee versus LA Knight is what I've got on my list. Yeah,
I'd love to see it. I mean, McAfee's great. I mean, the only other one I thought for McAfee is Wade Barrett.
If Barrett wants to wrestle, then
yeah, I think you could do that for McAfee. I think McAfee could be on the card, and you may even have him in your list in a minute for people without matches. But that's made me think of someone else who might appear at Mania. I don't know his schedule, but Bad Bunny, what's he doing? Because I think he said that I think he said that he wants to. His wrestling career is not over.
Yeah, he'll be back 100%. I believe.
And he is, a big name, and he's been on the last 2 Manias, or was it just the last one? Was he on last year's Mania? Or was it the Rumble? He was on last year. Just Rumble, wasn't it?
He was in the Rumble last year.
Yeah. But anyway, he's another one. Whenever he's appeared, he's been great. But I just don't know what you do for him. Like, other than maybe The Miz in a one-on-one. I know they had a tag match before, but I don't know. I mean, The Miz tends to be involved with celebrities at Mania.
Well, this brings me to my list of what do the because The Miz is a big one, because he always has a match at WrestleMania. He's never left off the card. He's on TV all the time as well. Like, you just feel like he's going to have a WrestleMania match. And he's on my what do you do with the following list of people that I think should be on the card but haven't got so he's one of them. So yeah, a celebrity involvement, a tag match of some sort, something like that I can see for The Miz.
Yeah, I mean, well, we're going to find out Monday, aren't we? Maurice's given him a...
Do you reckon, what do you think that is then?
I think that is, we're going to have a Miz TV at Mania. That's what I think that is.
I think he's either going to be Miz TV or he's hosting. He's the host.
Yeah, he could host,
I think they're going to have a host. And being in Hollywood, being Miz's
gimmick... Makes sense. That does make sense.
I think it makes sense that the Miz hosts the show. And then you can have a segment like Stone Cold could come out and stun him or something. I don't know.
I mean, yeah, exactly. We had a KO show last year, one out of the Miz TV edition. That could be something they do for Mania.
And the Miz doesn't need a big match because he's not going to put on a 5-star classic with anybody.
No, and he's been on a losing streak. He loses all the time.
Yeah. So for me, it's fine to have him do a Miz TV segment. And it's going to be interesting to see what that gift is, because that will give us a big clue as to what the Miz does at WrestleMania, I'm assuming.
Yeah, and like I say, there's no obvious people for him to interact with on the roster other than it being a celebrity. That's all I can think of. And say Bad Bunny is one that comes to mind, but there may be other celebrities that they want to appear in. It's Hollywood, so
yeah, they can have some famous actor come into the ring and beat him up or something. Like,
just have Tom Cruise come out.
You could do something like that. So he was on my list. So we've talked about him. I'll go through a list of people then, and we'll briefly talk about what we think they could do at the show. So I'll start with a couple of the women that I think should be on the card, really. Raquel Gonzalez. Not on the, what's her plan after not winning? She was my other pick. So if we had a second pick for Elimination Chamber, she would have been my other pick. Is she not going to be on the card?
I don't see a way. The only way I see her get on the card is if she gets in a tag team and we make that women's match a bit bigger. But for me, there's no real
And if she does get in a tag, Liv Morgan is the other person I've got on that, and those two could tag together.
Yeah, you could easily throw Raquel and Liv as a team, couldn't you? I guess makes more sense than anything else. But yeah, I mean, they don't do many women's single matches at Mania that aren't involving titles. Like Bailey v Trish would be or Bailey v Becky, whatever, would be an exception and a rightful exception. But I just don't see. There's no story with any of those either of those women to make sense for them to have a proper match at Mania. So
no, it's just two women that I thought of. They're the main two. There are others. There are plenty of other women on the roster that are, deserving of a spot. People like Candice LeRae, Carmella. I mean, there's an endless list. But there's people,
Piper Niven,
yeah, loads. But there's only so many spots. Maybe they do a battle royal.
That's the other thing. Yeah.
They haven't done one of those in a couple of years for the women, but
if they did, I would like Piper Niven to win if they did do one. By the way,
yeah, that would be a good shout.
That's who I'd like to win. Yeah.
So those two mentioned the Miz, Johnny Gargano. Does he have a match at WrestleMania?
I don't see one for him. He's only really been involved.
And they do something with Ciampa. There are injury return people that I haven't got on this list. People like AJ Styles, Randy Orton, Riddle.
Yeah.
I'm assuming none of these people are going to be at Mania. That's why I've not included that.
Yeah, you wouldn't think so. I mean, for Gargano, I just don't see. Other than like a battle royal, I don't see what you do with Gargano.
No, I don't. I think they'll probably do the Andre the Giant battle at WrestleMania this year. That's what I hope they do, rather than do it on SmackDown before whatever they've done.
Yeah, they've done that for the last couple of years, haven't they?
Get the people on the card. And another one. Go on.
I was gonna say on a 2-night show, you've surely got to make room for the battle royal. I think, but yeah.
Even if they're on the pre-show. Another one is Bronson Reed. Obviously, he had a good show. Now, these two were in Elimination Chamber. That's what made me think.
Yeah, weirdly, he was the name I thought of. I was like, maybe you could do Gargano v Bronson Reed, but it doesn't feel Mania worthy.
Like a Mania match. It would.
That's like a TV feud, isn't it? Really, it's not really a Mania feud.
It is definitely a TV feud rather than a main event, main match. Alpha Academy are another one, but I do think they could do something with them in Maximum Male Models at WrestleMania. I can see it.
Yeah, some silly segment potentially. Yeah, there could be something.
Comedy match. I can see that with Otis.
Yeah,
I can definitely see them doing something with this. Dragging this to WrestleMania and doing something there.
Could you even do Otis v Gable? Winner gets a contract to Maximum Male Model. They could they go there? Because there is like a bit of
a really good idea.
Yeah, there's like a little bit of conflict between them now because they're both. Gable thinks he's the model and Otis is the one they're actually trying to recruit. You could do that.
And then you can have Otis win and go into the thing, but Gable gets like a strong singles push after Mania. That and maybe wins the title from that Austin Theory. That I'd like to see. So
yeah,
that's a cracking idea, actually.
That is probably the best I've got for that.
I feel like as a tag team, they're kind of going nowhere anyway.
Yeah, I think they should break up now, personally.
I've got 2 more tag teams on this list because obviously there's only one set of tag titles. So what do these other 2 teams do? So Street Profits, they're great, right? Montez Ford was one of the stars of Elimination Chamber. Triple H even said after the show, Montez Ford is a star. If he's a star, he should be at WrestleMania, right? So what does Street Profits do? It's hard because there's only so many spots.
Yeah, I've got nothing for them. Nothing's coming to my head other than just there's no real. I don't know who your other tag team you've got on your list is, but I don't know what feud they have. There's nothing they've got lined up.
No, I know. And the other tag team is the New Day because they obviously were in NXT. They had the tag titles. I think they should have kept I personally think they should have kept the tag titles on for longer until Stand and Deliver. Then that would have been their WrestleMania weekend match. You do them like they did with Dolph Ziggler last year, where they put him on the show at on the NXT show rather than the WrestleMania show.
Yeah, it's a good point. I mean, you can't throw more tag teams into that tag title match because that tag title match is so personal and storyline driven. You can't just we'll throw the New Day and Profits in there as well because it'd be silly. No. So yeah, they can't.
They're always on the card. So
yeah, they can't get involved in a tag title picture. So I don't know. The Viking Raiders v the New Day.
The tag title. It's an odd one.
Yeah, it would make sense. Yeah, I say the only thing I can think is somehow before Mania you have one of the Profits or New Day or someone win the tag, or Alpha Academy or someone win the tag titles on a episode of Raw or SmackDown. But then and maybe you have Sammy and KO cost the Usos one of the belts, and then they win the other one at Mania. Potentially, could be a way to get another tag title match on the card.
Yeah, potentially. And actually, there is another tag team on it, because I've written 2 names down, but they're actually a team at the moment, which is Braun Strowman and Ricochet. You feel like Braun Strowman would be on the card. Again, no direction for them. I thought they were going to win the tag titles a couple of weeks ago. Obviously, I thought maybe Jay would go up, they'd give them the titles. And then you could do KO and Sammy versus Usos for the Raw belts. But yeah, I don't know. Again, don't know their direction for Mania. Ricochet had that big spot with Logan Paul at the Rumble. Strange. There's quite a lot of guys that are directionless going into this, that are big names and are good enough to be on the card. So this is the problem. When he's brought all these people back, there's quite a few. I mean, there's still a few more left.
Yeah, you haven't mentioned like Santos Escobar or people like that.
Karrion Kross.
Who Santos has been, again, doing a little bit with Ray, like a little bit there. Yeah, Karrion Kross has been
Ray's corner at Mania or something like that. Because you're going to have Priest, or you could do you could do potentially Dom and Priest versus Ray and Thingy if you wanted to turn it into a tag team match. But I don't know. Maybe you want to do Ray. I think Ray and Dom should be 1-on-1, really.
100%. Yeah, I'm not. I wouldn't be happy if that's not a 1-on-1 match.
Karrion Kross is another one. Like, what's he do? Baron Corbin. Now he's obviously separated from JBL. You've got
directionless.
Those guys are our main ones. There are plenty of other roster guys as well. Dolph Ziggler, Mustafa Ali. They had their feud on Raw. I don't think that's not going to WrestleMania. Let's face it.
No, that's just a TV feud. Yeah.
So there's loads, but those are the main guys.
I think some of those just have to go into the Battle Royal. I think that's the only, like, for you likes of Dolph, Ali, probably Karrion Kross. Escobar, they have to go into the Battle Royal. There's no other place for them.
It's unfortunate, but I think you're right.
And I think you're going to need a women's Battle Royal as well, because I think it's so unfair to leave off like Carmella, who's come back and looked good. Natalya, who just had a little push. Like Shotzi, Raquel, Liv, like all these women, Candice, Meechin, all these women, Emma, you've brought back. They have to be doing something. Like, maybe you, like, I was thinking they often do like a mixed tag. Could you get something with Madcap and Emma? But it just feels like against Scarlett and Karrion. That's probably not Mania worthy, is it?
We already had that feud as well.
Yeah, did we have that already? Yeah,
we've had that.
Miz and Maurice.
The only other thing I could see maybe is Miz and Maurice or something versus somebody.
Madcap and Emma, random.
But again, that doesn't scream WrestleMania, does it? I don't know.
No,
I don't know. It's going to be interesting. But yeah, I think the Miz will definitely have a role on the show.
The Miz will definitely.
But a lot of those others on that list, I think, may end up in the Battle Royal. I think Alpha Academy. I think they'll have I think that Maximum Male Models thing could happen, or the 1-on-1, like you said.
Yeah.
The rest of them, I think, could be off the card or in the Battle Royal, but not on the main card.
And you know what? Actually, I think that's okay. I don't think everyone has to be on every WrestleMania. There's just, unfortunately, there's only so many matches you can have, and they've made it as big as it is could ever really. You can't really do a 3-night Mania, can they? So it has to be. This is basically as big as it can get. I don't know
how many matches Triple H wants to do, because
he usually does
5 or 6.
Yeah,
but like at WrestleMania, I'm sure he's going to go to like at least 7, right?
Yeah,
maybe even 8. But then that's still not, a massive card, is it? Like, there's still, I mean, it's a big card, but there's still a lot of people left out. So, unless you do 10 matches each night, you can't really get everyone on the card. So it's ridiculous. But the Battle Royals should be the men's 1-on-1 day, women's 1-on-1 on the other. And I think then you can make the card. And at least then they're on the show. Even if they're not majorly on the show, they're still working WrestleMania,
They are. And then, then after that, it's how long is it from Mania to Money in the Bank? A few months? Money Bank's in end of June, isn't it? So.
Yeah, 1st of July. So yeah.
1st of July, yeah.
So yeah, we've got a couple of months, really. 2.5 months.
Would there be a pay-per-view in the middle, won't there, in between? Oh,
Oh yeah,
Backlash. WrestleMania Backlash.
There might even be 2. I'm not sure.
Okay. But yeah, interesting times. And obviously, our minds then go to Money in the Bank and what's going to happen there, because, yeah, trying to work out who's going to win Money in the Bank is
too far away.
It's probably a pod for another day, but it's just an interesting one. Obviously, we'll know more after Mania and stuff. But yeah, it's exciting. We're officially on the road to WrestleMania now, and it's one of the best times of the year, probably the best time of the year. The Rumble to Mania period is just brilliant, especially when they now throw in Chamber in the middle. It's just, yeah. This is where everything ramps up and storylines get really good. So
yeah, definitely.
But like I say, there's so much to look forward to the next week with Dom appearing, Rhea on SmackDown. We're then going to find out what the Miz is doing on Monday. We've got a women's tag title match. Like, there's so much big stuff happening just in the next couple of shows announced. So
yeah, definitely. And John Cena coming back as well.
Yeah, John Cena's back in a few weeks. So yeah, big stuff coming up.
Looking forward to it all. But yeah, we might as well close it there.
Yeah. So like I say, there's a lot of big stuff coming up. So follow us on Twitter at Recharge Wrestle to get involved in our WrestleMania predictions, which will be the biggest of the year. It's the biggest card. So get involved. They've actually had a lot of people get involved so far. So thank you very much if you're already involved. Very good turnout. I think a lot of people saw RM Punk with his T-shirt last year and thought, yeah, I want a bit of that, because yeah. You win a WWE T-shirt of your choice. So yeah, get involved. It is definitely not too late. We are early in the year, and there's loads of prediction points to be won. And I can tell you, I have started poorly this year, so I need to.
Yeah, and I'm on top of the league right now. So
yeah, Fisher is 100%.
Along with Jack, he's joint top.
Oh, okay, 200% records so far.
Yeah,
that's impressive. So, but Mania's, if you get 100% after Mania, then fair play to you.
Yeah, so. that's not.
Yeah, very interesting. Yeah, so follow us on Twitter at Recharge Wrestle for all of that. Follow us on YouTube. Just search Recharge Wrestling. Like, subscribe, and always, comment, interact with us on Twitter or YouTube with any questions, thoughts, ideas. We're always open to hearing things. So, yeah, definitely get involved there. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can also check it out on podcast format if that's what you prefer. If you listen on your way to or from work, then find us on all your podcast platforms. Just search Recharge Wrestling there. But in terms of us, we will be back same time next week for a review of the week in WWE. So we will see you then, guys.
Goodbye.